How are you all doing? Today we have brought you another episode of Bible Scriptures. This time it is about aliens, or what is commonly known as extraterrestrial life. It is well documented that the Book of Enoch explains extraterrestrial beings in depth. But we are here today focusing on common Bible verses on aliens. We may discuss the Book of Enoch in a much more higher level some other time. We humbly remind you to subscribe and also read regularly the whole Bible and commentary books on the Bible. Colossians 1 verse 16. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him and for him. Deuteronomy 4 verse 19. And when you look up to the sky and see the sun, the moon and the stars, all the heavenly array, do not be enticed into bowing down to them and worshipping things the Lord your God has apportioned to all the nations under heaven. Deuteronomy 17 verse 3. And contrary to my command has worshipped other gods, bowing down to them or to the sun or the moon or the stars in the sky. Ephesians 2 verse 19. 19 Consequently, you are no longer foreigners and strangers, but fellow citizens with God's people and also members of his household. Ephesians 6 verse 12. 12 For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Exodus 12 verse 49. 49 The same law applies both to the native-born and to the foreigner residing among you. Exodus 22 verse 21. 21 Do not mistreat or oppress a foreigner, for you were foreigners in Egypt. Exodus 23 verse 9. 9 Do not oppress a foreigner, you yourselves know how it feels to be foreigners, because you were foreigners in Egypt. Ezekiel 1 verse 4. For I looked, and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north. An immense cloud with flashing lightning and surrounded by brilliant light. The center of the fire looked like glowing metal. Ezekiel 1 verse 6. 6 But each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. Ezekiel 1 verse 7. 7 Their legs were straight, their feet were like those of a calf and gleamed like burnished bronze. Genesis 1 verse 26. In what ways do you think we are in the likeness of God? 26 Then God said, Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. Genesis 2 verse 1. 1 Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. Hebrews 11 verse 13. 13 All these people were still living by faith when they died. They did not receive the things promised, they only saw them and welcomed them from a distance, admitting that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. Hebrews 13 verse 2. 2 Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. Isaiah 13 verse 5. 5 They come from faraway lands, from the ends of the heavens, the Lord and the weapons of his wrath, to destroy the whole country. Isaiah 45 verse 12. 12 It is I who made the earth and created mankind on it. My own hands stretched out the heavens, I marshaled their starry hosts. Isaiah 60 verse 8. 8. Who are these that fly along like clouds, like doves to their nests? Leviticus 24 verse 22. 22. You are to have the same law for the foreigner and the native born. I am the Lord your God. Nehemiah 9 verse 6. 6. You alone are the Lord. You made the heavens, even the highest heavens, and all their starry host, the earth and all that is on it, the seas and all that is in them. You give life to everything, and the multitudes of heaven worship you. Psalms 97 verse 6. 6. The heavens proclaim his righteousness, and all peoples see his glory. 1 Peter 2 verse 11. 11. Dear friends, I urge you, as foreigners and exiles, to abstain from sinful desires, which wage war against your soul. Acts 19 verse 35. 35. The city clerk quieted the crowd and said, Fellow Ephesians, doesn't all the world know that the city of Ephesus is the guardian of the temple of the great Artemis and of her image, which fell from heaven? Revelation 12 verse 12. 12. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short. Revelation 13 verse 1. 1. The dragon stood on the shore of the sea. And I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on its horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. Amos 9 verses 2-3. 2. Though they dig down to the depths below, from there my hand will take them. Though they climb up to the heavens above, from there I will bring them down. 3. Though they hide themselves on the top of Carmel, there I will hunt them down and seize them. Though they hide from my eyes at the bottom of the sea, there I will command the serpent to bite them. Leviticus 19 verses 33-34. 33. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. 34. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Revelation 9 verses 7-11. 7. The locusts looked like horses prepared for battle. On their heads they wore something like crowns of gold, and their faces resembled human faces. 8. Their hair was like women's hair, and their teeth were like lions' teeth. 9. They had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the thundering of many horses and chariots rushing into battle. 10. They had tails with stingers, like scorpions, and in their tails they had power to torment people for 5 months. 11. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon and in Greek is Apollyon, that is, destroyer. Genesis 6. 1. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them. 2. The sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. 3. Then the Lord said, My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal, their days will be 120 years. For the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. 5. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. 6. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. 7 So the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them. 8 But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. 9 This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. 10 Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. 11 Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. 12 God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. 13 So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. 14 So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. 15 This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide and 30 cubits high. 16 Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. 17 I am going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature that has the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish. 18 But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. 19 You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 22 Of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. 21 You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. 22 Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Ezekiel 1 In my 30th year, in the 4th month on the 5th day, while I was among the exiles by the Kebar River, the heavens were opened and I saw visions of God. 2 On the 5th of the month, it was the 5th year of the exile of King Jehoiakim. 3 The word of the Lord came to Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, by the Kebar River in the land of the Babylonians. There the hand of the Lord was on him. For I looked, and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north, an immense cloud with flashing lightning and surrounded by brilliant light. The center of the fire looked like glowing metal. 5 And in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. In appearance their form was human. 6 But each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. 7 Their legs were straight, their feet were like those of a calf and gleamed like burnished bronze. 8 Under their wings on their 4 sides they had human hands. All 4 of them had faces and wings. 9 And the wings of one touched the wings of another. Each one went straight ahead, they did not turn as they moved. 10 Their faces looked like this, each of the 4 had the face of a human being, and on the right side each had the face of a lion, and on the left the face of an ox, each also had the face of an eagle. 11 Such were their faces. They each had 2 wings spreading out upward, each wing touching that of the creature on either side, and each had 2 other wings covering its body. 12 Each one went straight ahead. Wherever the spirit would go, they would go, without turning as they went. 13 The appearance of the living creatures was like burning coals of fire or like torches. Fire moved back and forth among the creatures, it was bright, and lightning flashed out of it. 14 The creatures sped back and forth like flashes of lightning. 15 As I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. 16 This was the appearance and structure of the wheels. They sparkled like topaz, and all 4 looked alike. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. 17 As they moved, they would go in any one of the 4 directions the creatures faced. The wheels did not change direction as the creatures went. 18 Their rims were high and awesome, and all 4 rims were full of eyes all around. 19 When the living creatures moved, the wheels beside them moved, and when the living creatures rose from the ground, the wheels also rose. 20 Wherever the spirit would go, they would go, and the wheels would rise along with them, because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. 21 When the creatures moved, they also moved. When the creatures stood still, they also stood still, and when the creatures rose from the ground, the wheels rose along with them, because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. 22 Spread out above the heads of the living creatures was what looked something like a vault, sparkling like crystal, and awesome. 23 Under the vault their wings were stretched out one toward the other, and each had 2 wings covering its body. 24 When the creatures moved, I heard the sound of their wings, like the roar of rushing waters, like the voice of the Almighty, like the tumult of an army. When they stood still, they lowered their wings. 25 Then there came a voice from above the vault over their heads as they stood with lowered wings. 26 Above the vault over their heads was what looked like a throne of lapis lazuli, and high above on the throne was a figure like that of a man. 27 I saw that from what appeared to be his waist up he looked like glowing metal, as if full of fire. And that from there down he looked like fire, and brilliant light surrounded him. 28 Like the appearance of a rainbow in the clouds on a rainy day, so was the radiance around him. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. When I saw it, I fell face down, and I heard the voice of one speaking,